Hello everybody and welcome to Reed's Reads. I'm of course your host Ryan Reed and welcome to the Spider-Man Crawl Space here. Please check us out at the SpiderManCrawlspace.com. So I'm here to review of course the lovely and wonderful Superior Spider-Man 21 here by Dan Slott and Kamankali. And I have pretty high marks on this. First of all, let's talk about the pros here. The return of Stunner, who actually was a favorite character of mine when I returned to Spider-Man back in the 90s, is actually pretty well reintroduced here, exactly how Angelina actually came about and why she is motivated to return and attack Spider-Man. I mean, it works very well. I mean, this was a character that was, teased and was severely overweight, never thought of herself as anything more than what she looked like. And Otto Octavius here, gave her a new sense of life, actually fell in love with her and actually made her, something of, as her mind saw her, as a stunner. And actually the motivation and how she gets out to Spider-Man actually makes plenty of sense, as well as the battle between Otto and Stunner actually is extremely well portrayed and done about just how powerful she is, and then how Otto actually takes care of her using the Spider Boss, as well as using a holographical version of his old 90s look with the old Amari suit and everything. Actually worked extremely well, and actually I was really happy to see that. It was a nice callback to the glory days of Dr. Octopus back in the 90s and everything. And I mean, the artwork is fantastic. The storyline actually comes across really well, and actually I didn't mind too much about what was done taking care of Lamaze's issue with the doctorate, even though it was pretty easily disputed. But at the same time, everything showing with Anne-Marie and, of course, Lamaze, especially when the bus is about to fall, and how he cares more about himself than her, kind of pretty much shows just really this guy isn't much of is pretty much scum as it is and everything. And actually, I kind of like how they kind of work at everything, because it actually introduces a little bit of the 90s Spider-Man series, how Peter Parker was a student underneath Otto Octavius, even though it's only kind of partially talked about. But it works really well. As for the cons of it, unfortunately, even though everything with Carly Cooper and the Goblin Nation all finally kind of moves forward and actually makes a really interesting little sense there. And I also like the fact that Otto Octavius' body is missing from the graveyard. It just kind of makes Carly look a little too stupid. And as much as you want to take about having maybe she was with Mary Jane, or maybe she wanted to get some of her police force people together before she took her evidence to the Avengers or Fantastic Four, whoever you wanted to, she goes and buys flowers to make her final resolution. No, it doesn't work. And it makes Carly look like a complete idiot. I mean, I'm sorry. You can say what you want about Betty Brant. You can say about the way Mary Jane has been portrayed the last 2 years. But this is just crazy. Not to mention, Menace was stalking her. Why? That made no sense either. I'm sorry. You can take the history of Menace and Carly Cooper, and it just does not bring the fact that all of a sudden Menace is like, "Ooh, let me go over here and stalk you, and then let me kidnap you and bring you to the Green Goblin, because you have a journal, which I probably never knew about." Woo-hoo-hoo! No. Just, okay, it doesn't work. I get that the plot and everything here is, but everything with Carly just makes me still kind of, scratch my poor little head on this one. But I will give this a solid A-. It's actually a very well-written story. I love the way Stunner's brought back, how she used maybe what's going to happen post-wise, the fact that Peter actually got his doctorate and everything. He has to still have the ceremony, but the fact that he had his, thesis finally, officiated. Just remember to sign your name. People don't get dissertation if you don't sign your name. Remember, Peter Benjamin Parker. But we never know. It could happen. But either way, I'm actually looking forward to where we're going now here, especially with Goblin Nation just around the corner, as well as the big Spider-Man event here, which is probably going to see the end of Otto Octavius by summertime and everything else, but leading us to Darkest Hour. So actually, I was really happy with this, and I really hope the annual, which is coming out here next week, is actually just as good and everything. So I'll give a good applause here after the last 2 issues. So good, solid A-. And on that note, folks, I will see you on the crawl space. Bye.